Recording in progress.
All right, welcome to the May 22nd, 2023 meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit Board of Directors. This is a hybrid meeting, meaning members of the public can participate in the meeting either in person or virtually. This meeting is being live streamed, and the slide on the screen shows the information on how to join the webinar via Zoom. You can also call into the meeting at 253-215-8782, and the webinar access code is 873-9338-8162. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Sander. Please note for the record, Director Sander would be serving as alternate for director, but they're both not in attendance. Director Daniels.
Here.
Director Hume is marked as absent. Director Jennings.
Here.
Director Kozlowski.
Here.
Director Laloe. Director Maple.
Here.
Director Cerna.
Here.
Director Singh Allen.
Here.
Director Valenzuela is marked as absent. And Chair Kennedy.
Here.
With that, we have a quorum at 7 votes.
Thank you very much. And I suggest that we do something to Rancho Cordova tonight while we're here. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. That takes us to our consent calendar where we have items 2.1 through 2.7. Is there any member of the board that would like to pull anything from consent or ask questions, comments on a consent item matter? Seeing none, is there any member of the public that would like to address the board on an item on the consent calendar?
We do have multiple items, but I also like to note that David Sanders is joined virtually.
Oh, okay.
And also, if I could read the opening statement.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. And David, I didn't mean what I said about Rancho Cordova.
Thank you. This meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T UVerse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Thursday, May 25th at 12 p.m. and Saturday, May 27th at 1 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker card located at the rear of the room and provide it to myself or Susan. If you're participating by phone, please push *9 to indicate a desire to comment. If you're joining us through Zoom, please push the raise hand button. Please be sure to unmute yourself when it is your turn to speak and voluntarily state your name for the record. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as I said earlier, we have consent calendar items 2.1 through 2.7. I did not hear any board members or the public chime in. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Jennings and a second by, I believe, Singh Allen. Thank you very much. Please call the roll.
Okay. My apologies. We do have Jeffrey and ridership for the masses wish to speak on this item.
So I'm going to do roll call votes because Director Sanders is not here today.
Very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Director Sanders?
You may not be replying because it's Sander, not Sanders.
Excuse me.
Singular.
Pardon me. I'm just promoting him to panelist. I'll continue. Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Hume is marked as absent. Director Jennings?
Yes.
Director Kozlowski?
Yes.
Director Laloe?
Aye.
Director Maple?
Aye.
Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Singh Allen?
Aye.
Director Valenzuela is absent. And Chair Kennedy?
Aye.
I'm not able to reach him, but item consent calendar passes at 8 votes.
Thank you. The job's not as easy as it looks, is it? Okay, next we have
And we do have 2 public comments for
public addressing the board on items not on the agenda. I have one card, which I will call first, and then please help me and tell me who's online. Dan Allison.
Good evening, board members. I'm Dan Allison, and I'm here representing Sacramento Transit Advocates and Riders, STAR, this evening. First, some positives for things that have happened. We're glad that the light rail modernization project is moving forward. Glad to see the work being done and cars gradually coming. We are glad that the board agenda finally includes an actual document for the general manager's report so that we can look at that ahead of time. The Mobility Advisory Council minutes are finally showing up on the website. They're not up to date, but at least they're there now, which they have not been for years. And we're glad to see the legislation moving forward. It looks like 354 on Elk Grove is moving rapidly, and 1052 to allow a different district for sales for taxing purposes is moving slower, but moving forward. So we're glad about both of those things because we support them. Our concerns, we have heard some credible reports from people using mobility devices that the ramps on the new light rail cars are too steep. And it's something that STAR warned about years ago. SAC-RT made the decision to go with a low floor and not level boarding, unlike almost every transit agency in the country. And we were concerned then, we're still concerned. If they are in fact too steep, it would be an ADA disaster and stop the whole project in its tracks. The next thing, there's a lot of canceled board meetings, and we understand that one reason that happens is the lack of availability of a quorum with enough board members. And that's one of the consequences of only having elected people who are also serving on 10 to 15 other boards. They're not able to make it. Okay, more than that. We continue to be concerned about light rail wraps. Some of the wraps have almost a complete opacity, and we understand that SAC-RT is changing their advertising contract, so that won't happen in the future, but there are existing light rail cars that people cannot see into or out of, and we believe that we simply need to remove the window coverings from those cars to solve that problem, even though that hurts advertising. We've been having a hard time getting up-to-date ridership information. The ridership reports have gotten shorter over the years and less frequent, and just don't have the information that we need, the transit advocacy community needs to see what's going on with ridership. Same thing with the equity aspects of routes. We would like to know more about what SAC-RT's view of the equity benefits of some of the routes. And as other organizations will probably talk about, there continue to be bus cancellations, and some of the riders feel like they're not getting enough notice of those, and would also like to see for any bus that gets canceled that that trip and the remainder of their trips are free. That's all. Thank you.
You wrapped up right when I was going to ask you to. Thank you, sir. Who's next?
Next, we have Jeffrey Tartagia.
Jeffrey. Jeffrey, can you hear us? There he is.
Yes, I can. Unfortunately, I just had Kristen from ACC wanting to talk to me. But the number one thing, Dion, I will echo that you have not taken a 600-pound wheelchair. You have not taken a scooter onto the new low-floor vehicles. I note that when at Siemens, I had trouble negotiating, and there seem to be certain safety concerns that still need to be addressed with this low-floor, beautiful-looking light rail. But I'm hoping some additional testing, and that you will involve at least 2 people from the disability wheeled community and discover what the issues are related to the blind, about making sure whether the door is open or closed as they get in there. The other thing I'm going to alert you to is this last weekend, for the first time, I had RT's electronic message system say, "We have no idea at this time," literally. I was looking at 1410, a bus stop on the Route 88, and it turned around and just disappeared, apparently for 5 minutes. Then it came back and told me, "Oh, it'll be there in 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes later, it disappeared again. Now, if this had only happened once last Sunday, that would be, I see a question, and I did raise the question with customer advocacy with Jamie and some others about what's going on here, because I've never seen that message. I had it happen repeatedly. I believe, I believe it was Sunday morning, where once again, it turned around and told me that we have no information about this bus stop. It just flat out disappeared in there. And I'm concerned that unreliability of bus routes, i.e. you had a number of bus cancellations, which made the Route 11 go to once an hour in being a bus, that what is actually working out and how many drivers are having to deadhead to make up to try and keep your bus routes going. It seems to be a recurring problem, and I'm not certain that, other than claiming that there's just no, drivers to do this, what would be a alternative solution right now to get a dependable, reliable public transportation fixed route system. And the other thing I will ask them 20 seconds, I will alert you to is at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoons, you need to update the electronic bulletin boards if you've restarted the trains running schedule and not waiting until Monday morning. It's just a heads up, because going out there and waiting, and I was told that, hey, yeah, we're going down to CRC already now. Anyway, that's my public comment messages. I will wait for the general manager's report, and I will also wait for the public hearing on the budget and raise some questions
Thank you.
there, since I missed the consent docket.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Next.
Next up, we have ridership for the masses.
Good evening. How is everybody today? I wanted to speak to 2.7, but you went right over it and approved it, but we disagree with it, and we'll just leave it at that. We disagree with putting police vehicles in CTSA money, using it for CTSA money, but that's okay because you ran right over. Okay. I just wanted to let you know that this weekend there was 20 trips one day over 7 bus routes that were dropped. It is still a big issue. Well, actually, it was 32 trips and 4 bus routes. Today it was 20 trips and 7 bus routes. And those included Greenback, Stockton, Broadway, and other routes that people frequently use, and we are very concerned about that. The other thing that we're concerned about is that the disabled community is not having the low cars available to them during your testing. We think that they should have availability because there's ramp issues, there's visual aids issues that need to be addressed. We do have a person who's in a chair that would volunteer for 11 to 1 o'clock to come out and to test the low floor vehicle, as long as he can get a ride back home at 1 o'clock in the morning. But we are concerned about that. And And we think that they need to have real time, to be tested real time with real people. And I think that's about it that we have for today. Thank you very much. And you all have a good evening.
Thank you, Barbara.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Quick question for staff. Did we provide a response to Ridership for the Masses on their concern around item 2.7? Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure that that is on the record for tonight's meeting, because it was otherwise characterized as us just kind of dismissing it. So, thank you.
I'd also, thank you very much, Director Stern. I'd also like to get maybe just a report back. It doesn't have to be at a formal setting, but just in writing of what our efforts were to align our purchases of these vehicles with ADA.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, sorry, one other comment or suggestion, I guess. We've now heard, I think, 3 times some concern about the new low-car fullers and whether or not there's adequate accessibility testing for those that are in wheelchairs or those that may be visually impaired. I suspect I know the answer, but I'd like to hear from our general manager. Is it the case that we will have plenty of future opportunity to do that once we get more of that rolling stock in our possession?
Let me look into that. This has been a couple topics has been talking about for a while, and we try to address that. And I want personally to do a check to say if we have addressed or not.
Okay, well, I guess for my part, I would love to hear you say at some point, yes, we're going to have a very deliberate process to invite members of the disability rights advocacy community to test these new cars. I think it's really critical.
We have invited the disabled community members to look at the demo multiple times, but I do not know if the law allows us to do the real testing with the real people. So that is something in my mind.
Sure.
What I'm going to check, and I'm going to make sure if we can do that,
Sure.
we definitely will.
Well, of course, with the obvious caveat that we don't want to break the law. So.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any others?
Yes, we also have Blanca Salcedo.
Ms. Salcedo, are you there? What do we got?
Yes, I'm sorry. That must have been a mistake. I'm listening in.
Oh, you did not have your hand raised.
No, I didn't. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Thank you, but you just had your 30 seconds of fame.
Thank you.
Okay. Any others?
Yes, we have Michael Harris.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Y'all can hear me?
We can hear you.
Well, it's good to see some of y'all. I haven't seen in a little while. Chair Kennedy, I'm not disparaging anybody else. I just see you the most on RT, probably because we both old, got gray hairs and stuff. I don't know. But
Thank
the
you for
blessing is that 50 years of RT, and, I've been here all 50. And it is nice. Back in the day, we had to walk from Rudder underneath the freeway over to where we lived by Charles Mack. And it was fun because we were kids, but because there was no routes. But, 50 years now, there's routes everywhere. And of course, there's challenges. But the blessing is RT is an award-winning transit system. And I thank y'all. So I'm here tonight because Juneteenth is coming up, and actually tonight, back in 1863, the U.S. colored troops were called into action for the first time in American history. The path towards being in the U.S. Army on a regular basis was earned on the battlefield, saving the Union and freeing those that were enslaved. And so the county. Let me start with the federal government. Juneteenth is a holiday. The state, it's an optional holiday. The kids have to, the school systems, but let's just say it's an optional holiday for employees. The county, well, thank y'all with the county. Y'all, it's a holiday for county employees. The city it's in the process. Elk Grove, Citrus Heights, Galt. Who am I leaving out? Folsom. Y'all can consider making it a holiday. So this year, in alignment with the 50th anniversary, Leidesdorf Plaza, which is the location where the Folsom Light Rail is, the first railroad in the West. We're celebrating 23 years of Folsom Juneteenth there on the 9th of June. And in alignment with what's happening on the lawn in the White House, the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation, and I stepped off as the regional director. Far too much going on. Juneteenth at the state capitol, and it is high noon on June the 19th. And we certainly invite all of y'all to come. Some of y'all might have the day off and others not. But high noon at the state capitol, we're going to align things with what's happening in Washington, D.C., the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. So I thank y'all for your time. Peace.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you calling in. Anyone else?
We have no further comments.
All right. Is there any member of the public here in person that would like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll go to item 7.1, Resolution 2023-05-057, approving the temporary appointment of retired annuitant Rachel Johnson.
And Jason Johnson is available if you have any questions.
Is there any questions of the board?
Are you related?
I was ready for that one.
Yeah. Is there any member of the public that would like to address this item? Roll call vote, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Kozlowski, second. Loloe. Roll call vote, please.
Great. Director Budge is marked as absent. Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Hume is marked as absent. Director Jennings?
Yes.
Director Kozlowski?
Yes.
Director Loloe?
Aye.
Director Maple?
Aye.
Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Singh Allen?
Aye.
Director Valenzuela is marked as absent. And Chair Kennedy?
Aye.
Item passes with 8 votes.
Thank you. Item 7.2, Resolution 2023-05-059, declaring the damage to the mini-high ramp at the Sacramento Valley Light Rail Station an emergency and delegating authority to the General Manager, CEO, to enter into a contract to repair the platform structure. Ms. Ham?
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Can we move this to later part because Director David Sander is on the way?
Oh, so we need the 4/5 vote. Okay.
Yes.
All right, we will hold that over for later. We'll go right to 8.1, which is the General Manager's report.
Good evening, Chair Kennedy, members of the board, and the public. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before I share my update, I would like to start with a bit of good news. So on Wednesday next week, Valley Vision will release their latest public opinion poll that details the findings of residents' view on Sacramento's built environment. Data includes respondents' views on housing, transportation, and growth trends. One of the key findings of the report states that 76% of respondents think that public transit has gotten better, or at least stayed the same, over the last 5 years in Sacramento. This is a testament to the hard work we have been doing over the last few years to improve the customer experience. The details will be released next week. We just got to the sneak peek. Yeah. Also, I want to thank Director Phil Serra for meeting with Mr. David Wong today. David Wong Aspern Mr. Wang raised an issue in our last board meeting, and we had a successful meeting with him in person today, and thank you, Director Sherla, for attending that meeting. The meeting was very successful, as I heard.
Yes, if I could, I just want to publicly thank Chris Flores and Lisa Hines, too, for taking time out of their busy schedules to, I think, conclude a very productive meeting. And I think we actually got some good ideas out of that meeting, not just hearing about the details of one of our patrons' grievances or a couple of them, but I think by the conclusion of the 45-minute meeting, we were all on the same page in terms of how to actually make the system better and more convenient and customer friendly. So I think it was a good use of our collective time this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me begin with a quick update on our station modifications to accommodate the height of our new light rail vehicles. We are performing work at one station per weekend to minimize the impact. So far, we have done about 10 stations. However, our next station closure, Servants and Capital, will take a bit of additional time and work because of the station layout. The reason I wanted to mention this is because we will temporarily close the station from Tuesday, May 30th through Sunday, June 4th. Also, because of the complexity of the work and the safety concerns, we will not be able to provide a bus bridge from Tuesday through Friday because those weekdays, the safety concern. But a bus bridge will be in place on Saturday and Sunday. So I wanted to make sure public hear this, and especially our friend Jeff Targea can help us. Well, ambassador can spread the news. Then just last week, the CCAG board approved the most recent regional funding. Sacramento is receiving $11.5 million to support station conversion and purchasing new low-floor vehicles. Additionally, we are excited to have been awarded $5.2 million to support a partnership with the city and the county of Sacramento for a BRT route on Stockton Boulevard. We have a vision for a network of golden standard BRT throughout the region, and we are excited to see the progress on Stockton Boulevard, which is our highest ridership route. As the project progresses, we will be hosting a Stockton Boulevard corridor stakeholder workshop, and we'll work with partners to conduct a peer-to-peer field trip to one of the most successful BRT networks on the West Coast. And we have not settled on a location for workshop yet and are open to suggestions. We will reach out to our board members to accommodate your schedules if you are interested. And also I want to thank some CCAG board members who actually sit on our board for the CCAG award, grant award. I noticed Director Sander just joined us, and thank you for your votes on that. Next, as we have shared, Sacramento has partnered with many local organizations to offer free rides on transit to events across our region as part of our 50th anniversary celebration, including free ride on every Tuesday in April. I'm thankful to so many in the community who took advantage of these events. In total, there were 258,000 free rides taken throughout the month of April. That is almost the highest percentage increase per industry standard. And that is despite our school closures for spring break at the beginning of the month. So we actually exceed the highest threshold of the industry. We still have 9% increase in ridership, above our baseline. And for the Sacramento Kings playoffs, we carried over 2,000 passengers on game days. Then the next topic, SACRT's microtransit software provider, Viera, conducted a review, a executive business review globally. They have more than 200 operations in close to 200 cities or metropolitan areas globally. And they did a regular review on different services in different regions. And after they finished the review on our service, they shared a couple of highlights. First, in April 2023, we experienced the highest ridership for the service since it was launched in 2018, carrying over 15,000 rides in April. And the downtown, the Rancho Cordova area, and a couple other areas are our highest ridership areas or zones. And riders have some great things to say about the service with 4.9 satisfaction ratings out of 5. There are some very good quotes here, so I'm not going to share that. Then 2 weeks ago, Laura Ham presented an update to the STA about the service and the future of Smart Ride as part of a 2.5 million application to their neighborhood shuttle program. I want to make a clear clarification on that. SACA, in the past 3 or 4 years, STA provided the operational funding. SACRT provides the capital funding, which is 50-50 split. So we spend money to purchase up to 50 vehicles and other infrastructures. And STA provides the operational funding. While we continue to pursue additional ongoing sustainable funding to support the program, the initial STA funding grant has now run out. And the funding from STA, the level has been reduced significantly. And we will continue to operate in all line zones with some minor adjustments. But we're not going to reduce any zone or cut any zones while we seek additional local funding to permanently support the program. Then I will close by sharing that SACRT will be hosting 2 in-person hiring events in June. There will be an opportunity for signing bonuses and on-the-spot conditional job offers, and the events will be hosted here in the SACRT's auditoriums here. One is Tuesday, June 6th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Another one is Thursday, June 15th from 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. And we have had some successful in-person hiring events in the past, and we hope this incoming 2 hiring events will be as successful as we used to be. And we have budgeted for additional bus operators, understanding the unplanned absence have been at a higher rate than in the past. Prior to pandemic, this is an industry-wide phenomena, and the unplanned absenteeism, almost 10% additional, unplanned absenteeism as a result of the COVID pandemic. And also, we have to hire more bus operators to support the bus bridges as we continue our light rail modernization project, because we have to close the station, 1 station each weekend, and we need to put the bus bridge there. So that concludes my remarks. I will turn back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board on the general manager's report? Anything from the public?
Yes, I have a hand raised from Jeffrey Tartagia.
Jeffrey.
My apologies. I've got the YouTube going on as well, so I don't want to create any feedback situation. But I would be concerned and asking is what is going on with the I-80 elevator? I hear that we're having to run some bridges again because it's been down again. And I just would like to see that we have a reassurance of that every 6 months or so, we make sure that until we make the changes for the I-80 elevators, that that we monitor and see how often they are down and out, and we develop some form of system to put on there that when we are running a shuttle service on the boards out there, so they know at 12 noon or on the hour or the 30 minutes, there's going to be a bus that's going to take you from point A to point B. That's my public comment right now in the general manager's report. And again, I look forward to what you have in the budget explaining about some of the actions that have taken place this year. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jeffrey. You snuck that one in under general manager's report. I'm sure staff will respond to Mr. Tardigia regarding the elevator issues.
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else?
No further comments.
Okay. Then we'll go back to 7.2, which I've already read into the record. We have staff on that. Thank you.
Yes, Laura Ham is here to represent this item.
So briefly, I'd like to explain that the Sacramento Valley Station mini high ramp, the inbound ramp, which is the terminus of the Gold Line, it's equipped with 2 mini high platforms, but the inbound platform, the wooden fascia on the platform has deteriorated. You can see it here in a couple of photos that are displayed. We recently had an inspection that determined that that inbound ramp is in dangerous condition, so it's out of service. We are providing access to passengers with disabilities through a bus bridge. The closest station where passengers can deboard is 8th and H, approximately 3 blocks away, and we're operating a bus bridge to give passengers access to Sacramento Valley Station. Per our public contract code, go to the next slide, please. This would require formal bidding if we need to use a third-party contractor to repair the ramp. That can be a protracted process, take some time to go through preparing technical specifications and bid documents and putting it out to bid. We are attempting to make that repair in-house, but should we be unsuccessful, we'd like to have maximum flexibility to get this repaired as soon as possible using a third-party contractor. So what we're asking for from the board tonight is the action that's on the slide here, delegating authority to the general manager to enter into a contract to repair the platform and allowing us to bypass that public bidding process should it be necessary.
Thank you. Any staff, any board member have any questions of staff on this item? Is there any member of the public that has a comment or question on this item?
I see no public comments.
I'll move approval.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Kozlowski, second by Director Maple. Council, we have the required people here that we need?
Correct, yes. You need a 4/5 vote.
Okay, thank you. Then please call the roll.
Director Sander?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Hume is marked as absent. Director Jennings?
Yes.
Director Kozlowski?
Yes.
Director Laloe?
Aye.
Director Maple?
Aye.
Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Singh Allen?
Aye.
Chair Kennedy?
Aye.
With that, item 7.2 passes with 9 votes.
Thank you. That takes us to item number 9.1, Sacramento Transportation Corridor Joint Powers Authority meeting summary, which Director Budge is not here, so we will take that under advisement. And next, we will recess to closed session. Thank you.